Hello, everyone. Welcome to a very quiet Richmond Raceway. I'm Adam Cheek. This is Michael Massey. We've got a lot to talk about in the wake of this race, but I think the first thing that stood out to me is, as much as people hate on Richmond, I think one of the things that's really struck me about this year is that both of these races have been very interesting in their own ways. They've had their flaws, yes, but the spring, we had a lot of strategy, and Denny Hamlin putting on one of the drives of a lifetime to carve his way through the field. And this time, we had Kevin Harvick chase down Joey Logano for the lead, and then we had Chris Buescher, of all people, making a run for a win at Richmond. So, Michael, give me your first thoughts on how this race unfolded.
I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the spring race, and I think this one might have been even better, just because you had so many comers and goers, like you said. And like Christopher Bell, we talked to him after the race. He said if he had not just another lap, a couple more feet, he thought he would have won the race. So that was another guy that you didn't hear from all day. All of a sudden, the end of the race, he's up there. You had guys riding, rim riding, going up against the wall. Ty Dillon, look, I thought he was like in an accident or something, but then he comes flying off with a whole run of momentum. So I liked the race today. It was a different. It wasn't short track beating and banging, but it was still good racing.
Well, and of course, Kevin Harvick coming out the winner of this race. And Harvick doesn't win for almost 2 years, and he doesn't win all 2022. He finally gets it done last week at Michigan, and then he turns around and does it again at Richmond. Is Harvick a threat to make the championship four at this point, or do you need some more convincing?
I don't need any more convincing. I have been saying it all along since he won last week. The sleeping giant just woke up, and he is ready. He might win the next 4 races or something. I think he'll go on a run. It could be like Tony Stewart 2011, where Tony was awful all season. He hit the playoffs. He won 5 races, won the championship. I could see that happening again with Harvick. And, yeah, he's going to make the championship 4. Let's put that out there. That's my prediction. He's making the championship 4.
The 4 is in the championship 4.
Exactly.
Okay. I'm not convinced as of yet. I think he'll have a good run in the playoffs. I'm not convinced he makes the championship 4 quite yet. But let's talk about Chris Buescher, because one of the biggest storylines coming out of this, Buescher has never been good at Richmond until this year. He only had a couple of top 20s heading into this race. His best finish was this spring. So maybe it's a combination of the next-gen car. Maybe it's a combination of just finding something in Richmond. Maybe it's Brad Keselowski owning the team. What did you see out of Buescher tonight that really impressed you, especially as we go into a week with the road course where he's finished very well at that layout so far this year?
Yeah, Buescher had a real shot to win. I think, when Harvick came up to lap Brad Keselowski, Keselowski held him up a little bit. If he'd held him up just a bit longer, I think Buescher could have made the pass, and then it would have been tough to pass him back because clean air, But I think that's part of it, is just getting with RFK Racing. They had a lot of speed in both Richmond races this year. I think that's their short track package is an area where they're kind of getting going, which makes sense because Brad Keselowski is an excellent short track racer. So Buescher following his guidance, following how he's setting up the car and stuff, I think is really helping him on these short tracks.
Well, we've got a lot of activity going on around us, ATVs and carts and everything, and a little bit of rain falling. And let's talk about the scenario with the way these Richmond races are, because in the spring you've got Xfinity during the day, Cup during the day. In the fall you've got the trucks at night and Cup during the day. So we're so used to Richmond having at least one night race every single year. What is your takeaway from these two mostly day-themed weekends this year?
I'm not really sure. I think that Richmond does race a little better in the daytime, so you need at least one day race. I like mixing it up, having a day race and a night race at a track, but we've seen that ratings-wise, night races on Saturday night have not been doing that well, so you've kind of seen NASCAR pull back on those, so it makes sense, but I remember coming here Saturday night under the lights, watching these cars. It was a beautiful thing, but I completely understand the move.
Well, and finally, in comparison to last night's truck race, which we talked about a little bit, how disappointing it was, and essentially Ty Majeski dominates the first stage. He loses the lead on pit stops, and once Chandler Smith gets out front, he is gone. No one could pass him. There was very little passing overall, and I think we saw some different aspects of Cup at Richmond today, because we saw people like Ty Dillon running the high line the entire way around for basically the entire race, which you don't see at Richmond. We saw a lot of guys racing 2-3 wide and a lot of different lines being taken, but it felt kind of similar a little bit at first, and then things got different near the end. Like once Joey Logano got out in front, he was gone.
Yeah, I thought that Chastain, he was going to run away with it for a bit because he had the lead early. Same with Logano, but it was good. I guess maybe the truck race needed those extra 150 laps, and something was going to happen. I don't think so. I think that what they had, I think there's just less competitive trucks, so you're not going to get comers and goers like you are in the Cup Series, where it's such a stacked field. But I don't know. I feel bad even calling that truck race a race. It was more just an event. Because a race indicates that people were actually competing against each other. I just saw like a.
This is true. That's very
it was just like
I'm not gonna argue.
It was just a choo-choo train going around. So.
Well, and lastly, we have 2 races left until the playoffs. We've got Watkins Glen and Daytona, 2 wildcard races, short track road course super speedway leading up to the start of the postseason. Richmond, we don't get a different winner. We came very close to having a different winner with Chris Buescher. Do we get 16 winners? Do we get 17? How do these last 2 races unfold?
So I don't think we get a 16th next week, Watkins Glen.
Okay.
You've seen Tyler Reddick, Chase Elliott, those guys be good at road courses. I think that
Even Larson.
Yeah, it would be more of the same. The guys that have already won a race. But Daytona, man, Brad Keselowski is looking a little more competitive today. Ryan Blaney won there last year. That would count as a 16th different winner, even though he's already in. But I think we get it at Daytona. I really do.
I do too. I've convinced myself that we saw Brad be competitive. We saw Chris Buescher competitive. Both of them won at Daytona in the duels this year. Blaney's the defending winner. I think there's 4 or 5 guys that could get the job done. I don't know if Truex does.
Yeah.
Because he's never been great at Daytona. But we've got 4 or 5 people that could pull something off. Well, for Michael Massie, Adam Cheek, great time at Richmond. You can check out all of our content on Front Stretch. We got sidebars, recaps, videos, and we will have the post-race stock car scoop coming up for you tonight and into tomorrow as well. So thanks to everyone for following along over the weekend, and we look forward to Watkins Glen next week.
Jared Haas with FrontStretch.com. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Also, check one of those 2 videos out that we have right beside you. Visit FrontStretch.com for more great content.